Hey guys, welcome back. Well, the latest Linux buzz around the community seems to be centered around something called Freespire OS. Now, Freespire was last seen about 10 years ago, and for various reasons it went away. Freespire is back. There are two versions. There's a Freespire download, and there is something called Linspire. Now, if we go to the website, and it's not the old freespire.org website, it's pc-opensystems.com. Now, there are two versions, Freespire 3.0, Linspire 7.0. Freespire, basically, it says here, is geared for the general Linux community, making use of only open source components. Linspire is a commercial release which builds on the elegant Freespire foundation. It does include proprietary software set optimized for business users, students, researchers, and developers. And there is some more information here. And I spoke about this during the live event last week. I think it was Sunday. Sunday. We had quite a few people jump on. Great. Thanks for stopping by. You can get more information here on their webpage. Looks like a one-year license is $79.99. There are some frequently asked questions about this. And if we go here at the bottom, it says how many flavors of Linspire will there be. It looks like 3 different flavors. I'm going to focus for this one on the free one, which is Freespire. Now, if you are a Windows user like myself, the last time I ran this was under using VirtualBox, and it seemed okay. So if you are running, say, Windows 10 and are curious about this for newbies, it's perfectly safe to run this inside a VirtualBox using Windows 10 as your host machine. I'm running this currently off a USB bootable stick. Now, if there is one downfall to this, one negative, it's not a biggie. Freespire is only available under a 64-bit edition. There is no 32-bit. I wanted to test this at an older ThinkPad. Originally had, I think, either XP or Windows. Yeah, I think it had Windows XP, 32-bit. There is no 32-bit. That's okay. So let's run this. I am running this right now, like I said, off a USB stick. And let's see what it looks like. And I do believe this has the potential to be one of the best Linux distributions for beginners for this year. This is built off the Ubuntu 16.04 LTS. Alright, so this is the default desktop here. For those of you who are experienced and have used the XFCE desktop, this should come as no surprise. Now, I know this looks kind of plain, kind of almost boring, but for newbies, I think that's perfect. Right-click on the desktop, go to All Applications, and I'm doing this video primarily for beginners, but if you want to stick around, if you're an advanced user, please do. The usual host of installed applications. This one has a lot. Of course, you can change the default wallpaper if you want to under desktop settings. There's a lot here. I'll just keep this the way it is. Somebody mentioned this is a big ASS panel bar at the bottom. Again, most Linux is highly customizable. You can change the size of that and move it around, top, bottom. The one thing I've always liked about XFCE is the ability to add little applets, plugins to the panel. If you right-click, you have a host of choices here. Let's do, I don't know, let's try trash and add, and there's a trash applet here, and that's how simple it is. If you don't want it there, right click, remove. Again, if you are a Linux newbie, pretty much self-explanatory. My live users session, I wish I could have done a full install of this, but anyway, let's move on. The 4 desktop workspaces, sound settings. You can see my microphone input here. I did have to install Kazam screen recorder. There's no screen recorder installed by default. Of course, the clock. I mentioned the panel and my open tabs there with Firefox. Okay, these are the default icons on the screen. I don't often use a lot of default icons. It may be easier for newbies. I'll leave these the way they are. You can double click the home button. And again, this should be self-explanatory. Desktop documents, downloads. Of course, I'm not fully installing this, so I don't have anything installed except Kazam. Well, let's click the F-Start button, as I would like to call it. Somebody mentioned this reminds them of Fedora. Well, this is not Fedora, it is Freespire. Again, a very simple start menu. I believe this is called the brisk menu, if I am not mistaken. If I am, someone correct me. Anyway, let's briefly go through all these options or all these pieces of software and see what we have. Let's go to accessories and see if anything catches my eye. XF Burn, a terrific CD burning application if you still do that. We'll go to games. Not a lot installed. Again, this is meant to be super fast and lightweight. Graphics. What's absent here is GIMP, but that can be easily installed, and I'll show you how in a second. Go to Internet. Of course, we have Firefox. Multimedia, the only thing I had to install was Kazam, Audacious, a very lightweight music player. Let's go back to multimedia. We have Pulse Audio Volume Control, Sound Recorder, and of course XF Burn Office. LibreOffice is noticeably absent, but again, that can be installed. AbiWord should be fine just to get started, you know, printing a letter or a memo or a reminder to yourself. Again, super fast and lightweight. Okay, let's see. Let's go to settings. There's a whole host of options here, including appearance. As you can see here, many style options. I won't go through all of these, but I think I'll leave the default colors and icons the way they are. Again, lots to choose from. Go back to settings. Of course, we have install Freespire 16.04. This has an automatic installer, by the way, so if you are a newbie, it's self-explanatory. Let's see. Let's go to software and updates. Now, I prefer to use something called the Synaptic Package Manager to run updates, but there are different ways of doing this, including through the terminal, if you so choose to. But let's go ahead and click on software. And if you are a beginner, maybe this is where you should start. Again, I prefer the Synaptic Package Manager, not necessarily for beginners, but it's not that difficult to learn. If it'll start, yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's running a little bit slow off a USB stick. I think it's running. Now, I haven't done any updates to any of this, so after you do this, install this, make sure you run all the updates. I did check to install Spotify on this last week. It does work. If you click updates, yeah, definitely do the updates if you're running this in a virtual box or as a full install. And we have some editors picks. Again, do the updates to this, and this should run a little bit better. I wanted to go to the Synaptic Package Manager. This is where I install and remove stuff on a Ubuntu-based system. And let's say I wanted to install, what was I mentioning, GIMP or LibreOffice. We'll do GIMP. You can just type in GIMP. And if we scroll down, there it is. You can just right-click, mark for installation, and mark and install. I won't do that because again, I'm running this off a USB stick. It won't save all my downloads anyway, unless you're running this in a virtual box. So on mark, and we'll leave that the way it is. But this is one way, I think it's the best way to install and remove software. Once you get acclimated to the use of a Linux-based operating system. Let's see, Task Manager. We're running about 1.2 gigs. Running this with the screen recorder. Again, it doesn't feel like it's running that much, but overall, even running this off a USB bootable stick, it seems to be running fairly smoothly. So something like this, you know, coming from myself, a Windows dual booter, I think this is probably one of the best Linux distributions this year to try out if you are a Windows user and are curious about the world of Linux. My current favorite is something called Ubuntu Mate. Of course, that one's been around a few years. This is something that's new. So once again, having not tested this as a full install, I don't know how stable it is. I'm assuming it is, being that it's based off an LTS. But if you have a spare machine, absolutely give this a try. Again, keep in mind this is only available as a 64-bit download, but in my test in VirtualBox and off a USB bootable stick, I'm impressed. So we'll see how far this one can go. This is the free version, Freespire. If you do download this, make sure you check the download is not corrupted. Make sure you check the MD5. If it's corrupted, don't install it. You'll run into issues. I know a lot of newbies don't often do that, or sometimes may not know what that means. So please make sure and check that the download is not corrupted. All right, well, that's all I have for this one. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments below. This is Total OS Today, total technology for beginners and beyond. Don't forget to subscribe and support this technology channel. That's all I have for this one, and I'm signing off, so take care.